أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اهدنا السبيل. صلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
As the banner behind me says, we read the hadith from that as the start of this video, inshallah. It's a hadith narrated from the Holy Prophet himself. It says, إن لقتل الحسين حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. Okay, what does it say? The sacrifice, the shahada of Hussein alayhi salam has caused a blazing love of him in the hearts of the mu'min. And this blazing love will never die. In Surah Maryam, verse number 96, the verse goes like this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لهم الرحمن ودا. Those who believe and do good deeds, I'm doing a literal translation right now, will state for them the Rahman a deep affection. According to our Mufassirin and the ahadith that we have regarding this particular verse, the Imam says that actually it is the belief of Amirul Mu'mineen and his children and their amal salih, their good deeds, and based off of their belief and their amal salih, Allah has blessed their affection in the hearts of the mu'mineen. So this thing which brought us all here in this particular tent outside, and has been bringing us every single year since we were kids, and inshallah will continue to bring us till we pass away. And we long really if you can get one more chance to be in the majalis of Abdullah. This wudda, this particular love is granted to us, blessed to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Two reasons. This particular ayah says it. It's because of the iman of the Ahlul Bayt themselves and the amal salih that they had. Okay. Abu Abdullah sacrificed everything he had for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the deen itself, the safeguarding of it. So what's the effect of that particular cause? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now sets a blazing fire of love, this wadda in our hearts. This love of Abdullah that continuously pulls us to these majalises and inshallah closer to Him. So if I'm a real person, if I'm genuine in my claim of coming here and saying that, listen, Abu Abdullah, I truly love you and I wish to be in the company of those who love you, and I wish to be in meetings and gatherings where there is mention of you. If I'm a real person seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if I'm like Zuhair ibn Qayn, Abu Abdullah himself will come to me. If I'm and I'm willing to admit that I make mistakes, and I separate myself from those mistakes and stop performing them, then Abu Abdullah will come to me, just like Hur. This introduction was one, inshallah, of the Ayyam Azah themselves. That really, what is it that we're doing here? And why is it that we're gathering? We're gathering because we have this wadda, this particular love in our hearts. And this love didn't just come from nowhere. It's sourced somewhere. What was the cause of this particular love? The cause of this particular love was the belief of the Ahlul Bayt and their A'mal Salih. It was the belief of Abu Abdullah and his steadfastness on the deen, which has caused this particular effect. From how long ago has this been going on? Over 1400 years this effect lasts. Just imagine how immense the cause must be. Continuing on, Brother Ashar, alhamdulillah, may Allah bless his efforts, introduced the topic for these 10 nights and said that we're going to be looking, inshallah, at imamat, the effect of which has gathered us here. It's a love which is rooted in the hearts, and it should be bearing fruits in man's 24 hours of daily life. But we start the journey from a very different location. Okay. If the love is the root and its fruits are being borne in the 24 hours, we're going to start our journey with termites. We start the journey with an analysis of the termites. That short description that he read, I will take us through that particular description with a brief explanation with an analogy as well, inshallah. The actual description that I had sent him sounded too complicated, so I'm going to now make it a little bit more understandable. I didn't understand it. The first thing we're going to do is going to look at these termites and at exactly what they are. So what's these? It's waswas. These non-divine whispers from outside of us and sometimes from inside of us as well. Okay. After we look at what waswas is, right, both in the outer sense and the inner sense, so from without and from within, okay, we'll go further and study their types and how they typically infest. These termites, how do they typically infest? At this stage, we'll look at their occurrences in man. Exactly how do they occur in a person's being? At what levels do they occur? How can you identify if you're infested with termites or not? We'll continue the journey then to one specific point, which is what? How do these termites affect this tree that was rooted in the hearts and was supposed to bear fruits in the 24 hours? Our understanding and belief system, in particular imam. So later on in the journey, we'll look at exactly how these termites affect the roots of this particular tree, our core belief system. In particular, in these 10 nights, the belief system of imamat. We'll conclude the journey, inshallah, now closer to the end of the 12 nights, looking at just how special of a tree this particular imamat is. Okay. And what exactly are the benefits that we're supposed to be having from this particular belief system? So then we'll conclude the journey really over the Gandhic as understanding of imamat and its actual position as a root belief system. Okay. And how this particular root belief system is supposed to yield in fruits in 24 hours. We'll conclude our journey there, inshallah. That's where we're trying to reach. But today, we're here to answer only one question, which is what? On the TV right there. Why do we need to analyze something that already exists? Aren't we already in the tent of Abu Abdullah right now? Don't we already have this mudda with us, this love that's been pulling us here already? Then why is it so important to analyze the system and spend time on it? Why can't we just ignore that and go with our day? To answer this particular question, we're going to open up a particular topic. This particular topic is the idea of construct versus reality. I'll try to explain this with two examples. Hopefully, they'll give you a good idea of what's going on. In Canada, I go winter camping. In Canada, when you go winter camping, it gets freezing cold. If you don't have a fire, good luck. Okay? Right. Imagine we all went to winter camping as a group, and I was responsible for the fire. You guys come to me, night camping, say it's really cold, where's the fire? And I bring a nice picture of the fire to you. A really nice picture of fire, an image of it. What are you guys gonna do? Like, what the heck? What is this particular thing that you're doing, Syed? You can't do that. This image isn't gonna cause any heat for us. This image has no real effects for us. It's just an image. It appears to be like a fire. So a construct is exactly that. A construct is just the appearance and the form of something. Okay? But reality is something entirely different. What you truly need at that time when you're going winter camping is not an image of a fire, but the real fire itself. If you don't have the real fire itself, you're cooked, you're done, or you're frozen, you're not cooked. How does this particular idea help us answer this question, that why we should study this root belief system? Well, this tree was supposed to have certain fruits in her 24 hours, correct? Okay. If this tree is not bearing in certain fruits, and we see a continual regression in our existence, not going towards Abdullah, something's wrong here. We might have the appearance of going to Abdullah, but how do we know it's the real thing? Well, then we have to analyze this tree and see, is it a real one or is it an image? In the case that it's an image, it might have an image of an effect as well. The fruits might have the image of the tree, might have an imaginary fruit hanging there too, an apple and so on and so forth. How do I identify that this particular item is very different than the real tree, the real fruit? In the case of the physical realm, it's really easy. It's obvious. The image of the fire is vastly different than the actual fire itself. In the case of some things that are not seen, it's very different. Can you point to your belief system and say, here it is? No, you can't. Certain things exist that do not have a pointability factor to them in the outside world. Okay? One of those things is your belief system. A secondary thing like that, to understand it better, is like love or pain. Can you point to pain? You might be able to point to a source of pain in case, let's say I got a cut here on my hand, God forbid. I could say there's a source of the pain. But can you point to pain itself and say, hey, look, it's walking over there? No, you can't. Certain things absolutely do exist, but they lack this pointability to them. One of those existences is our root belief systems, our usul al-din. It's a real thing. It has a causality to it, meaning that it yields in some fruit, in some effects. Now we are here to discuss exactly how to determine whether this particular belief system that I have, this tree that exists within my heart, right, is it a real one or is it not? So please.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
To explain this particular idea to us, I'll take us through a very important historical example. See, in history, we had people who were claimants that they had the deen down pat. There were claimants that, listen, I absolutely am a believer. Not only that, they were known for this as well. People around them, their neighbors, people who would see them normally, would say, this is a really pious person. In fact, when it would come time to pray, they'd say, let's pray behind this particular person. He's so pious. He has so much piety to him. But we see that where the effects needed to be, that particular piety didn't yield in those effects. That particular tree that they had within them, their root belief system, yielded in no fruits. When it came time to help Imam Ali alayhi salam in the battle of Jamal, there's a person who was known as a very pious and religious man, Hassan Basri. You heard of his name before? Those who were around this particular person knew him to be somebody who was connected to the higher realms. He could hear the sounds of what he assumed were angels. He was considered an extremely pious person. People would quote him, people would revere to him, respect him, they'd follow him. When it came time to the Battle of Jamal, Imam Ali alayhi salam comes and tells Hassan al-Basri, "Stand this for the war. Help me in this particular war." What happens to Hassan al-Basri? He hears a sound. This particular sound says what? Both the killer and the killed will go where? Will go into hellfire. And in response to the Imam says, I would rather not go to this war. The Imam goes, and the war happens, and Imam comes back. Now comes this particular person says, listen, that was your brother Shaitan who was talking to you. The reality of the situation was something completely different than what you heard. The reality of the situation was the opposing army, whether they're the killers or they're killed by us, in both scenarios, because they're fighting the hujjat of Allah, their position is hellfire. Your brother Shaitan came and twisted this particular reality for me. Hassan al-Basri had what appears to be a pretty sound belief system. He even had some sounds that he could hear from the other realms. But when it really came down to it, there were termites in the roots of his belief system. And these termites prevented there to be really any fruit for him. This is why it's important to analyze and study that the belief system that you and I have, is it a real one or no? Are the fruits that I'm seeing in their appearance, me dressing up in black, me coming to this tent, the tent of Abu Abdullah, me praying, me reciting my Quran, are these fruits real? Or are they just the form and the appearance? Just like the fruits on the image of an apple tree. So we're here to analyze that and discuss that in the next 10 minutes. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
One more analysis now from history to further put the point home. Muslim ibn Aqil, who was he? Did he have a belief system? Absolutely he did. Imam Hussein salam sends Muslim ibn Aqil as his representative to go check out these people in Kufa. He says, these people have been sending me letters upon letters. Let me see. What's the reality to them? So the Imam is also after this particular question. Are these fruits that I'm seeing real in nature? Or are they just appearances? To answer that particular question, what does the Imam do? To analyze if these letters in this invitation is a real one, or is it just the appearance of an invitation. What does the Imam do? He sends Muslim ibn Aqil to Kufa. He says, go analyze. Muslim reaches Kufa, very thirsty, and a lot of people come and start giving his bayah slowly to him. And now all of a sudden, he has a lot of numbers with him. The masses are with him. You know to what degree? To the degree that Ibn Ziyad is forced, the governor of Kufa, is forced to come out on the pulpit and address the people and say, hey, don't join this one man. If the amount of people that had joined Muslim were fewer in number, the governor of a whole city didn't need to address the masses in this particular way. He could just ignore them. The amount of magnitude and number of people that actually joined Muslim were how many? They were to the point where Ibn Ziyad was like, wow, I see this as a threat. I need to go out and prevent people from joining. So the numbers were there. And they were not small in quantity. But what happened? By the time Muslim finishes Isha Salah on one particular day, which day is this? When he says, yes, now in the appearance, I have the numbers. Now let me use these numbers. When he went and said, let me now actually taste this fruit. Let me now actually benefit from the heat of this particular fire. It seems like it's a fire here. It seems like there's fruit here. It seems like there's numbers here. When the Muslim makes a decision to use those numbers, by the end of that particular day, after Isha Salah, he's almost left alone. In some cases, and some narrators say, he was left alone. So it's not as easy to identify a constructive fruit or a constructive fire from a real one when it comes to our belief systems. The people who joined as a Muslim, did they have a belief system? Were they claimants of a belief system? It takes a lot of courage to stand up against Ibn Ziyad. This guy was a tyrant. He was known to be ruthless. He had just quenched an uprising in Basra. Yazid had brought him over here. When he entered the city, he had entered in a very tricky manner. This guy, is it an easy job to stand up to him? The people who were there with Hajj Muslim in the beginning, and they pledged their allegiance, they had a root system too, a root belief system as well, that yielded that fruit of them who were against Ibn Ziyad initially. But where are the bright skies? And where are the pits of the ocean? Where is the faith of Muslim and the fruits that that faith held? And where is the faith of these masses and the fruits that that particular faith held? What quality did that Muslim have with him? When he was walking towards Karbala, when he was traveling towards Karbala, and things got tough, he didn't give up. He continued on his particular path. When he reached Karbala and everybody around him was saying, "We want to give our allegiance to you. Here's our khums money. Here's our support. My tribe will come and help you. Stay at my house." The other person said, "No, stay at my house." Now Muslim was in a position that so many people were inviting him, he had to choose. Even in that particular situation, he does something very important. He does his responsibility. He's completely attentive towards Allah and his responsibility. He doesn't let the glimmer and glamour of the masses distract him. And when he's left alone after Isha Salah, does he quit? No. He does his responsibility. In every circumstance that he finds himself in, he knows that he is an abd of Allah, a representative of Aba Abdullah. So he does his responsibility. There's a time when Muslim hears that Ibn Ziyad has given a sermon in Kufa telling the people don't join him. And if you join him, I'm going to get you. What does Muslim do? He goes to the house, he was staying in the house of Mukhtar, he travels to the house of Hani. Hani is sick at this particular time. And one of Hani's cousins happens to be a companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He even fought with Ammar Yasir. This particular companion says, "You know what? Very recently we've gotten word that Ibn Ziyad wants to come and visit Hani." Hani wasn't an average boy. He was somebody who had a high position in his tribe. So this companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Hani's cousin, tells Muslim, "You know what? I have a great idea. The mother of all evils, this particular person, Ibn Ziyad, wants to come visit Hani." And Hani accepted his invitation. "I'll lead him to the room that Hani is in. You hide in the back. When he comes, we'll kill him. He won't even be suspecting what's going on. He's the root of all evil." He's the one that later on does all those atrocities in Karbala. He's the one that's going to cause all those atrocities for the Ahlul Bayt afterwards. When this mother of evil comes, I'll invite him in. And a Muslim, I'll give you a ishara, I'll give you a sign, and you kill him. Ibn Ziyad comes into the room, Allah curse him. Ibn Ziyad comes into the room, what happens? This cousin of Hani is doing this. He's trying to give ishara, he's trying to give signs that okay, he's here now. He starts even reciting certain poetry, saying, "Muslim, come attack him." Not using these words, but signs basically. Something along the lines of, "Kill him even if it means I might die. Quench his thirst," or something like that, even if it means that I will die. He's now giving ishara to Muslims as well. Ibn Ziyad tells Hani, "Your cousin here, he seems very sick. You're sick, he seems very contagious, he seems very sick, he's blabbering." Hani sees that Muslim isn't coming out, and he realizes something is up. He tells Ibn Ziyad, "Yeah, since the sickness has been taking over us, it's strange things have been happening." and Ibn Ziyad leaves, safe and sound. Once Ibn Ziyad leaves, now the representative of Abdullah comes out. You can imagine his cousins. It took a lot of effort to drag this guy here. We could have just killed him, and that's it. No more issues. The city's ours. Now I'm saying, you come to be the governor. The end. Happily ever after. He was right here. Because he came as a guest, he wasn't even aware. Perhaps he was even unarmed. What's going on in the mind of Muslims in Aqeel at this particular point? Muslim sees this is somebody who asked to come and visit a sick person, Hani. And Hani, by accepting his invite, by accepting his appearance, actually invited him in as a guest. So when this particular person, no matter how bad he may be, is coming in this particular situation, he's not coming right now as an enemy to a battlefield to fight, armed, ready. He's coming completely unaware and as a guest. What's the second thing that they notice about Amnesia? Muslim says, well, he hasn't done anything worthy to be killed yet. He hasn't gone to the battlefield of Karbala yet. He hasn't done those atrocities yet. Does this particular character of Muslim remind you of someone else? It should. Was it not Amir al-Mu'mineen who told people who was going to kill him? Why did he prevent that particular person to be killed before him? He hasn't done the act yet. You can't punish someone for a crime they haven't committed. This particular action was not part of the root belief system that Muslim had, and Muslim realized it. In the right moment, he displayed the real fruit, which was to hold himself back. Can you imagine how hard it must have been? Everything is ready. If this guy goes, you're done. It's just one small mistake that you have to do. Just one little inkling against your particular root belief system that you have to go. A very small thing. No one will even know. Hani and this cousin are the ones that are plotting this particular thing. They're helping me with this. But no. The root belief system of somebody from the tent of Abu Abdullah does not allow an intentional slip up. I will not intentionally go against my root belief system. This is how Muslim ibn Aqil dealt with guests. Now let's look at how the enemies of Islam dealt with the guest of Abu Abdullah, Muslim ibn Aqil. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. When the guest of Abu Abdullah comes to Kufa, he's thirsty. How did the people of Kufa treat this guest of Abu Abdullah? After the Isha Salah, they all deserted him. And when he took refuge in the house of an old lady, the enemies come and they surround the house and they attack it. And this brave man, out of knowing what his responsibility is, says that I will not let the fight come inside the house. I'm a guest here. He comes out of the house and starts fighting the enemies. But this is one of the Hashimis. This is the son of Aqil. This is a relative of Aba Abdullah. He fights. He fights and he kills the enemy. And all the while he's taking wounds and he's becoming hurt. This line of Aba Abdullah is now very heavily wounded. They offered a chance to live. When the enemy saw that they could no longer continue this, they had to try to trick him. What did they do? They offered a chance to live, yet he saw his life in you, Hussein. They capture him. They take him in front of Ibn Ziyad. And he tells Ibn Ziyad, listen, I have incurred a debt while I was staying here. Please, can you sell these items of mine and pay that debt back? In that state, he's aware of what his responsibility is. Ibn Ziyad says, no, we'll kill him. He gives the order to kill Muslim ibn Aqil. They threw him from up so high, yet he held on to you, Hussein. They dragged Muslim ibn Aqil to the top of a tower. And they said, it is punishment. The way we will kill him, we'll throw him from this particular place down. They threw him from up so high, yet he held on to you, Hussein. Now Musa ibn Aqil had sons that he had brought with him. According to some narrations, he had sons that were there, the Tiflan, 2 sons. At that time when he's on top of the tower, is he thinking about them? The poet says, he had sons amiss in the streets, yet he cares for none but you, Hussein. When he was outside and fighting those people, they pounced on this bloody lion. Yet he kept roaring for you, Hussein. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulillah. O Aba Abdullah, I speak on behalf of the people in that tent. The month of mourning has come. We give our salams to you from afar, O Hussein. The month of sorrow has come. Ashamed I am when I look at myself in this past year, that I was not able to serve you as best as I should have. In need of your assistance I am. I want to be able to come to you, Hussein. Ya Aba Abdullah, so hold my hand and lead me to you. Help me be sincere like Zuhair. and let me repent like Hor. Perhaps then I'll be led to you, O Hussein. على لعنة الله قوم الظالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya Hussein,
Ya
Ya Hussein,
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 Ya Hussein. Who says that I admit defeat? Who says that I admit defeat? From this path I will not retreat. The ambassador of Hussein will live and will die at his feet. Who says that I admit defeat? From this path I will not retreat. The ambassador of Hussein will live and will die at his feet. When you throw me down to the sun, I fall into my uncle's hands. When you throw me down to the sun, I fall into my uncle's hands. La إلا السعادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة نار الموت إلا السعادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة. Who says that I admit defeat? From this path I will not retreat. Who says that I admit defeat? From this path I will not retreat. The ambassador of Hussein will live and will die at his feet. When you throw me down to the sun, I fall into my uncle's hands. When you throw me down to the sand, I fall into my uncle's hands. نار الموت إلا السعادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة نار الموت إلا السعادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة لا حياة إلا الشهادة. Surrounded by your friends, if only I had known. They made big promises. Don't come, you'll be alone. I was destined for this. They shut all of the doors. Oh, ocean, stay away. These are unworthy shores. On this night as I am, so lonely, but maybe I may find a lover of Zahra and Ali who will hide their station in paradise through me. Don't come, these alleys are all empty. Don't come, tomorrow there'll be plenty to hit. Your sister, they'll be ready. Don't come, don't come. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. They don't want the Imam. Turn back. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. They don't want the Imam. Turn back. Their slogans were empty. At night they ran away. Hussein, I beg you please, turn back, don't come this way. In words they yelled the most, they even shook my hand. But for you I can see, they'll never make a sound. Only one lady now is brave enough for you. She will take all of the arrows to protect you. Only one lady now is brave enough for you. She will take all of the arrows to protect you. But tomorrow will be there to defend you. Don't come, I see a river of blood. Don't come, I see a river of blood. There will be torture after the flood. Don't come, don't come, don't come. I see a river of blood. There will be torture after the flood. Don't come. They will clip your sorrows, but don't come. Don't come. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. Please don't want the Imam. Turn back. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. They don't want the Imam. Turn back. What did my uncle do? That of us they're afraid, for their guidance is what my master always prayed. From you they'll also part, like your mother alone. I knocked on all their doors, tonight I'm on my own. Tears are flowing, but I cry only for you. Thousands of letters now, there is no one for you. The city of Ali has now deserted you. Don't come, true faith here is shaky. Don't come, at least bring more than 80. Don't come, at least don't bring your baby. Don't come, don't come. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. They don't want the Imam. Turn back. Hussein, turn back. Hussein, turn back. They don't صلى الله عليك يا عبد الله يا صاحب الزمان. We thank you. You have allowed us to once more see the moon of Muharram. يا صاحب الزمان, once more we can cry for your grandfather Hussein. Ya صاحب الزمان, we know you haven't left us without your ambassador. You haven't left us without your own Muslim ibn Abi. As the first of Muharram dawns upon us, Ya Sahib al-Zaman, we pledge to you, we will never leave your Muslim alone. We will never leave you alone, O Hussein of our time. Ya Allah, we beseech you, at the end of our majlis, we know whoever has entered this tent has entered the tent of Abu Abdullah. Whoever has entered this tent has entered the haram of Abu Abdullah. Ya Allah, we beseech you, allow us to do the ziyarah of Hussein in this world, and grant us the shafa of Hussein in the hereafter. Brothers and sisters, if this dua resonates with you, if this dua is your dua, then hear aloud, Ilahi. Ya Allah, don't allow us to leave this world unless we are the Shia of Muhammad and al Muhammad. Ya Allah, whoever has come to the majlis of Abu Abdullah, allow him to return next year to cry over him. Ya Allah, whoever says that they're the Shia of Muhammad and al Muhammad, allow that faith to resonate in all of their actions. Ya Allah, every year, especially this year's Arba'in, write down every one of these sisters and brothers as the Zawar of Hussein. Ya Allah, many have asked us to pray for them in these majalis. Whoever is sick, whoever is in need of any need, those who are in debt, Ya Allah, through the dua, these brothers and sisters, help them. Ya Allah, our Mahmoudin who couldn't be with us this year, you were with us last year. Send the light of the tears over Hussein to their grave. Ya Allah, our greatest dua this night is to send our Master Sahib al-Zaman. Ya Allah, allow each and every one of us to be the commanders of the army when he comes. بالنبي وآله وبالفاتحة مع الصلوات.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا صاحب العرس والزمان. الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
صل على محمد.
You guys are the ABB team for tomorrow too, right? Inshallah.